The day everything changed began under a hard, white sun, the kind that makes shadows sharp and mistakes impossible to hide. In a glass hand, steel corporate plaza buzzing with confidence and control, one small decision shattered a quiet man's life in seconds. A mechanic dad, already worn thin by years of sacrifice, stood surrounded by polished floors and cold stares as his job was taken away without mercy. He walked out with grease on his hands, dignity bruised, and a secret buried so deep even he had begun to believe the world had forgotten it. If you believe that kindness matters and second chances can change lives, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Soulful Heartstory. Your support keeps real, meaningful stories like this alive. Ethan Rowe had spent most of his life fixing things others threw away. Engines that wouldn't start, cars no one wanted, and a life that never seemed to move forward. Every morning in full daylight he showed up early, sleeves rolled up, uniform stained, heart steady. He worked not for praise, but for his daughter, Lily, whose smile was the only luxury he allowed himself to dream of. When the new CEO, Vanessa Klein, toured the company's service division that afternoon, she saw only numbers and appearances. A mechanic who didn't fit the image, a cost that could be cut. The decision was fast, public, and humiliating. Ethan was escorted out while the building kept shining behind him, untouched by his pain. Outside, the air felt heavier than before. Ethan sat on the low concrete wall near the service bay, the sound of traffic mixing with the quiet panic in his chest. He wondered how he would explain this to Lily, how he would stretch the last few bills, how many nights he could go without sleep before hope finally gave up. The past pressed in on him then, memories he had locked away for years. A different uniform, a different life, a name he no longer used. He had buried that identity when he chose peace over glory, family over medals. As Vanessa continued her tour, confident and composed, a strange sound cut through the afternoon calm. At first it was distant, almost unreal. Then the rhythmic thump grew louder, stronger, shaking windows and turning heads. A Navy helicopter appeared above the plaza, descending slowly, deliberately, as if guided by purpose. Employees froze, phones came out, security panicked. The helicopter landed in a controlled burst of wind and dust, right there in the open corporate space, under the full light of day. Uniformed officers stepped out with precision, their presence commanding silence without effort. One of them looked around, scanning faces, then focused on the mechanic sitting near the service bay. They approached him with unmistakable respect and addressed him by a name no one there had ever heard, a name tied to honor, service, and sacrifice. Plaza fell completely still. Vanessa felt the blood drain from her face as realization struck like ice. The man she had dismissed was not just a mechanic. He was someone the Navy still searched for, still honored, still needed. Years ago, Ethan had led missions that saved lives, made impossible choices, and carried the weight of others home when they could not. He had walked away quietly when his family needed him more than his country did, choosing anonymity over applause. He never spoke of it, he never used it, until that day when the past came looking for him in broad daylight. The officers explained their reason with calm urgency. A crisis, a situation only he could advise on. They had searched for months, finally tracing him here. Ethan listened, eyes steady, heart conflicted. He looked once more at the building behind him, then thought of Lily, of the example he wanted to set. Service did not end with a uniform. Honor did not require an audience. Vanessa stood frozen, the weight of her decision crushing her confidence. In her pursuit of efficiency, she had forgotten humanity. She had measured worth by appearance and missed the depth of character standing right in front of her. Watching Ethan walk toward the helicopter, not with pride, but with quiet responsibility, changed something in her. Power suddenly felt small. Before stepping aboard, Ethan paused, the sunlight catching his worn face. He was still a mechanic, still a father, still a man who fixed what was broken, whether it was an engine or a moment in someone else's life. The helicopter lifted away, leaving silence, dust, and a lesson no one there would forget. If this story touched your heart, reminded you to look deeper, to choose compassion over judgment, please engage with this video. Like it, share it, and let others feel this message too. And before this story ends, take a moment to comment what this moment meant to you or who it reminded you of. Because sometimes the strongest people are the ones who never ask to be seen, and the greatest stories unfold in the light of an ordinary day.